So as we get started, the first session here is about leading from a digital revolution standpoint. How do we start to think about the convergence? And Dave talked about it, from traditional technology to cyber to now AI on the top. How do we look at this from a digital revolution standpoint? And you know, it's awesome that we have two leaders here from two amazing organizations like Worldwide and NVIDIA that come from very different perspectives, from a technical and a product perspective, and also from a leadership and a CEO perspective. And so, Jim, I'd like to start with you. From a CEO perspective, why are we here? Why is it important that we have summits like this? And what are you thinking about from a top-of-mind perspective when you think about AI, how it's impacting your organization and our customers?
Yeah, first of all, it's great to be here. Thanks, Kate. And Dave, thanks for the kind words. I just think it's an incredibly exciting time, one, to be here with this great group, and to be up here with the panel in Bartley, and with the partnership that we have with NVIDIA is incredibly exciting, and what they're doing, leading the charge around AI. But at a very, very high level, my view is that we are, again, we're at a point in time where I think with the actual, implementation and pragmatic deployment of generative AI, this is going to be the most transformational technology that has ever, impacted, humankind. And I truly believe that. There's going to be stops and starts as we move forward, just in regards to the adoption of this generative AI capability, but I truly believe it's going to be the most transformational technology we've ever seen. And with that, I would just say at a high level, why am I here? How does this, impact the world of cyber? One reason is because of, and I say this, if you go back 20 years ago, as Dave said, where Black Hat was 20, 25 years ago. You think about it, IT, a lot of times a lot of us were in IT, but IT was really a back office function. And a lot of us were trying to get a seat at the table with, the board, with the line of business, with the leadership of an organization. Now, if you look at it, you fast forward where we are today, IT, digital is generative AI and cyber. It's literally leading the transformation of every business. And so, to my point, it's in the boardroom. Every leader has to be thinking about how are they implementing AI? How are they, looking at their strategy in regards to how they transform their business digitally? And again, how are you going to do that in a very secure way? So there's this balance that everybody is dealing with today of, I've got to innovate. I've got to move with incredible speed. I've got to leverage and figure out how I'm going to implement generative AI into my business today to keep up, one, and to create new capabilities that are going to differentiate your company in regards to how you compete against others and how you grow and scale the business. So, and again, all that needs to be done in a very secure, thoughtful way. And that's how this, these things are coming together, and they need to be looked at as an integrated solution. And a big reason why I think we are here today and why Worldwide is leaning into this in such a holistic way. So really, really excited to be here. I think we're just really scratching the surface in regards to the opportunities.
I love that you say that we're leaning in and leading forward from an AI perspective, because, historically, and conferences like Black Hat prove it, cyber used to be the afterthought. It was kind of the thing you thought about after everything. You'd put together the systems, you'd look at things and go, oh, wait, I should secure that. And we used to laugh that we were the guys in the back of the room that nobody paid any attention to and, maybe wore hoodies. Not to Black Hat. But it's interesting, and Bartley, I'd love your opinion on this, because from a product side, from a technology side, I love that with AI, we're leading with it. We're leading with from both the opportunity of how we can use AI for good, but also thinking about the risk it poses. So from your perspective, as a leader in this digital revolution, what should we be thinking about from the technical and the product side of the house?
Yeah, Yeah, it's a really great question, right? Before, again, thanks, Jim. Thanks, WOT. Thanks, Dave. Dave, I don't know if you're busy, but I want to take you everywhere, and you can just introduce me when I walk into a room, right? Like, that's the best one I've had. So if you're not doing anything, Dave, just come with me everywhere. Yeah, it's a really, and you talk about that kind of transformation from back of the house now to front of the house and presenting to the board, right? And doing these types of things and really educating the board, right, in some ways, and educating leadership, right, because we all have been living this for so long, and now we're front and center, right, like, and we have to do this education. AI really is driving it. I have a saying, I'm like, cyber is a data problem, and AI is a data solution, right? And so if we look at it through that lens, I have great news, and then I have okay news. The great news is that so much of security around AI systems is things that you are already doing. I typically say things that you already should be doing, but this group looks like they probably are already doing it. So things you're already doing, right? Like, how are your access controls being implemented today? You hear these stories. You don't have to worry about people taking data out of your models if the data used to train that is sitting open on an S3 bucket somewhere on the internet, right? It's these types of things that, and what I tell people is, I'm like, just because we have AI doesn't absolve us of all the things we should be doing already, right? Like, it's so critical. So great news for job security. You get to do the things you were doing, and now all this new stuff too, right? It works out really great for everybody. And so there's that. And I'd say that's maybe that's 80%, maybe it's upwards of 90% of it, right? There's all of this other things about securing AI, and then what do we need to do there? And that really depends on the application. If we're thinking about things like LLMs, right, and generative type technology, there's the things we all know of, right? If you go and look at the OWASP top 10 LLM, right, you can map that back to things we really want to care about. We want to care about sensitive information and private information, one being even put into the models in the first place, and then being exfilled from the model, right, if it does happen to get there. Making topical guardrails, right, making sure, and that's as much of a security issue as it is a customer experience issue, right, as well. And so these things get intertwined together. And so mapping these back, I think, and being very strategic, and I'll confess, right, like I'm an engineer, right, like, so I love to look at it from a, what's the application of this? And so when you put together an LLM application or put together a generative AI application, look at not just every block that you've architected there, look at the connections between those blocks and say, am I doing the best possible security at each of these stages? Is my model encrypted at rest? Like, that's something that we could be doing. Are you putting the safeguards in place that we talked about, right? For your for your prompts, prompt injection, side injections. There's all these different things, right? But I like what Dave said. Security by design. When you architect this out, these things become apparent, right? Like, where you have these feedback loops where you need to put in security. And then I think there's all of that we should be doing. The other really big benefit is, security, a data problem, AI, a data solution. You can use AI to help implement some of those security measures that you have in itself, right? There's a massive amount of data out there that companies, organizations, enterprises collect that I think the term for it is dark data, or there's a term for this, right, where no one looks at this data, right? Like, and it can be upwards of 70%, 60% of the data that you could be collecting. Well, computers and AI, they're really good at a few very specific things, and they're good at things that humans are terrible at. They're great at just sitting there and looking at data and crunching on data all day long, right? So if you can make these models, and I'm very much a realist, right? We can make LLMs and these very large models, but there's a place for small language models. There's a place for machine learning. There's a place for statistics, and there's a place, I'll be honest, if you tell me that I can solve something by counting something really fast, I'm gonna count it really fast, and I'm gonna use accelerated compute to solve that problem. So AI and this new kind of form of AI with generative AI and LLMs are another tool there, right? And the last thing I'll touch on is something that I think sometimes we lump in with this, but generative AI and LLMs, that this whole kind of space has a huge benefit to accelerate the actual human analyst, right, in this part. Imagine the amount of alerts, critical, high, whatever it is that you might see in a SOC. Imagine how difficult it is to triage things like misconfigurations on your network. Like, you have to take all this data and synthesize it together, go out, do a little bit more research, understand how it all fits together, understand multimodalities of your data. You're looking at charts of your network. You're looking at text that's coming in. You're looking at results that might be coming from something else. AI is really great at multimodality today, right? Like, we have multimodality and multimodal RAG systems and these really cool workflows that you can put this data into securely if you've architected it out. And that can take the analyst and say, hey, what took you an hour, 2 hours, half a day to do before, you can do in 90 seconds, right? What if we gave you superhuman capabilities, right, as the analyst? And that, to me, more so than any like, oh yeah, we made a perfect model and we put it in line and it caught everything. That's great. We should do that. If anyone knows how to do that, let me know. We should talk. But I think
He'll be in the front if you want to talk to him later about it.
But I think, to wrap it up, right, I think the power to really help the human and accelerate them is what gets me so excited about it, right? Because we, as an industry, we want to give everyone this superhuman capabilities. And that's why I think it's so cool.
I love that. The power to help the human, to accelerate the human. And that's really why we're here today, is how do we help the human both in the opportunity and the risk from an AI perspective? And to do that, it's really all about partnership. And I am very proud that Worldwide Technology and NVIDIA have such a large, strategic, really industry-leading partnership. But when I think about AI, and we're here talking about the cyber, I like you said, cyber is the problem, is that right?
It's definitely a problem. It's a
And
data problem.
And AI is the
data solution.
Data solution. Partnerships and the ecosystem around AI is going to be what really helps us accelerate both the opportunity and the mitigation of a risk perspective. So, considering that we have a large partnership, I want to talk about the significance of fostering partnerships within the AI space and building a collaborative community around the AI domain. Why is it crucial, from both of your perspectives, to cultivate partnerships in this space and creating an ecosystem of individuals and organizations that share ideals and goals around responsible AI? What does good look like, and how do we help create it? Jim?
So I would start by saying why partnerships, and I think all of us understand that. If you think about why partnerships are so important, and I would say even more important today than ever, you think about all the different security products out there today. And that's just in the security space. And you think about the customers that have to try to sort through all of the different security products to implement and to manage and to maintain as you secure your entire operations domestically, globally. Well, now you think about how important partnerships are when you think about the digital transformation side. You think about transforming your business digitally. You think about how are you going to implement generative AI to actually change the way that you work, the way that you create products, the way that you innovate within an organization. And to do that, there's no one company that can do all of that. So the importance of partnership is so critical. And I will give major kudos to Bartley and to Jensen and NVIDIA overall, led by Jensen, is that they have taken, you think about how much NVIDIA has taken the world by storm. They could be very arrogant about how they go to market, and they're not. They could be very, proprietary about how they go to market, and they're not. And they're looking to partner in a very, very significant way. And that's one thing that I'm so excited at Worldwide, that we have had a relationship with NVIDIA for 10 years now. And you think about the last 2 or 3 years, things have just obviously taken off like a rocket. But even with NVIDIA being, the market leader in so many different ways, they still need partners. And they need to bring together other technology products into, solutions that they're bringing to market. And they need other partners to help bring to market, I would say, the holistic capabilities of what NVIDIA is building. So when I look at it, we have spent, going back 15, 20 years, building what we call our Advanced Technology Center, which is an innovation ecosystem, a lab of labs domestically and globally that literally bring hundreds of different technology partners together into these physical and virtual labs. And NVIDIA is one of the critical components of that, driving the data science side, driving the generative AI side, driving so many of the future capabilities that we have in these labs. And so we have an AI proving ground. We have a cyber range that we have amongst a number of other platforms and labs that we have to help clients and partners integrate, different components into these AI architectures that are going to be used to actually deploy into customer environments. So to do that, and as we all know, as the technology is changing so fast and the innovations are coming at such a rapid pace, you've got to have these playgrounds to play in and to test these specific scenarios that are relevant to your specific environments that you have today, because it's not a one-size-fits-all as we go forward. So to me, partnership is really, really important. And again, I'll give major kudos to NVIDIA and to Jensen for leading in a very collaborative way where they could be very proprietary in how they go to market. And I believe they've been very collaborative. And, from a worldwide technology standpoint, working with the different cyber partners that we have and working with NVIDIA, it's just the opportunities are immense. And it's just incredibly exciting to see the opportunities we have in front of us.
Bartley, what are your thoughts?
That sounds great, Jim. Let's do that. No, I agree, right? And thank you. It's very kind. We do believe that we know who we are, right? Like at NVIDIA, to touch on that part, we're an accelerated compute company, and we can do a couple things really, really well. And however we can help the ecosystem, that's what we want to do, right? Like we're very, very aware that we're not a cybersecurity company, and we're very aware we're not a healthcare company, and we're very aware we're not an automotive company, right? We're none of these companies, but we can help, right? Like show of hands of the CUDA programmers in the audience, right? Like there's one, there's two, right? There's a few. There's not a lot in the audience, right? But we have a lot of them, right? So we can do that part, right? Like for you, and we can make, as we've been going through, we've been taking CUDA. That's hard. Let's just admit it. It's hard to work in, and making higher level software stacks. And I think the key there is we've taken a lot of those software stacks and we've open sourced those, right, to the community, right? Like whether you want to work in C++ or whether you want to work in Python, whether that's for cybersecurity or one of our other domains that we work in. It's so critical to foster that kind of collaborative environment. We have whole tools. If you're staying around for DEF CON, we have a whole session on this thing called Garrock, right, which is LLM kind of like pen testing, red training. That's open source, right? And we love for people to collaborate. So it's not just, hey, we want to take this and open source it, but we actually want people to file issues and file pull requests, right, with our software as well. And I love to see that. I'm seeing so much more of that in the industry compared with like even just 5 years ago, right? Like if you thought about, I call it security classic. You call it about security classic. It's like, this is my stuff. I'm going to keep my arms around my stuff, and I'm not going to share this with the world. And the reality is, just like you said, this is bigger than any one company. It's bigger than NVIDIA. It's bigger than anything. So the more we can figure out the way to share best practices in architecture, collaborate where it makes sense on open source code, open source models, right, that help the community out. I just think that's so critical. And for us, it's been really great with working with someone like WWT. Because we have a saying at NVIDIA, we like to move speed of light, right? Which is like fast as humanly, we just run towards the end. And WWT is a great partner in that they also want to move incredibly fast, right? And so we love all these partnerships where we can all move as fast as possible, as far as possible.
So AI has actually been around almost 70 years. If you think about Alan Turing and the Turing test and the history of AI, we have robotics, we have ML, we have generative AI, we now have narrow AI, we're looking at general AI. There's a lot going on. But I'm excited about the future. What do you think's coming? And where do you think AI is going to go? So with just a couple minutes left, Bartley, where do you see the future of AI? What do you have to get the guys excited about as we start the day? And then Jim, will close with you.
Yeah, you know, I really think this AI thing's gonna stick around, right? Like,
Maybe for a little bit?
yeah, I think it's got some legs. You know, I look at it very similar to, you know, this kind of early internet area, right, where we're figuring out a lot of things, right, in real time as we go. Where we're going, I mean, the possibilities are endless. We've talked about some of the, like the automation, right, and things like that. I think, you know, for security, and also you can take this even outside of the world of security, we are not that far away from every person in this room having a digital twin of themselves that is their own personal assistant, which is amazing, right? To me, you know, like imagine every PDF that you've generated, every YouTube video that you've watched, every piece of content that you've created, maybe for work or whatever, and you now have access not just to recall that information, but to extract salient parts from tables, from charts, and synthesize that with new information that you're getting. And it really is going to make you, the operator, incredibly effective. And we're just scratching the surface of that with these chatbots that we have right now. As soon as we can, you know, expand the aperture there, you make not just the cybersecurity operator more effective, you make you effective no matter what your work is, right? And you make you more effective in your personal lives as well. Like, you know, everything that you have to do, so we have our jobs, and then we go home and we have these other jobs, right, that we have to do, whether it's kids, spouses, right, everything. That to me is really exciting. And we're so close, we're like right there, right? Like where you can just like taste it. And I think the next couple of years are gonna be amazing for how do you help every single human with a phone or a computer be insanely more effective.
Yeah, I would add, I think it's such an exciting time. And, you know, a couple of things, you know, just playing off what Bartley mentioned, you know, just in regards to digital twins, you know, you think about it, creating your own kind of digital twin to help, you know, just around just general things that you do. But also think about, I mean, this is where I think we don't even know. We don't know all of the, I would say, the innovations that are going to come out of AI and what we're doing. And to my point, you're going to have digital twins from a healthcare standpoint. So that literally is going to get down to the DNA of each individual. I truly believe this. And if you think about it, it's going to, you know, the science breakthroughs, the healthcare science breakthroughs that we're going to see are just completely unknown. If you know, you think about what it's going to do when you start aggregating what I would consider as dark or dormant data today around, you know, genomics, around stem cell, around different things. It's going to be amazing, the breakthroughs in science that you're going to see. So when I look at this overall, it's the opportunity that's out in front of us to come together, to collaborate, and to think about the things that can be done, leveraging AI, leveraging the partnerships that we have. It's mind-boggling in a very, very exciting, opportunistic way. And I would just leave with one thing. All of these things that we're doing, unlocking this dormant data to drive incredible innovations and capabilities out there, and to drive differentiation in regards to how businesses run, operate, and compete today, all need to be done securely. And so everybody here, the opportunity is massive, and the need for all of you is more important than ever before in history. So again, look forward to partnering with everybody, and I just see just incredible excitement and opportunity in front of us.
So when you're ready to have your first like test cases for the digital twin, I'm a mom of 5, I raise my hand, I will be your first guinea pig on digital twin. And with that, wasn't this awesome? Can we please thank Jim and Bartley? What a great way to kick off the day. Thanks everybody. Have a great day.